So in this video, we're going to talk about how to add and subtract rational expressions with like denominators. So remember how to add fractions with like denominators? Remember that is kind of like the requirement in order to be able to add fractions. When you have like denominators, you're going to add the numerators together and then keep the denominators the same. So if we have 3/4 plus 5/4, that is going to be 8 over 4, and 8 over 4 will just turn into 2. So what we're going to do is when you're adding, you're going to combine the like terms in both numerators. And then when you're subtracting, you're going to multiply all the terms in the second numerator by -1. And then you're going to combine the like terms. The denominator is going to stay the same. Then the final step is to factor the numerator and denominator and then cancel any common factors. So let's try subtracting these two expressions. So notice we have like denominators, so we can go ahead and combine the numerators. So we have x squared, and then it's subtracting all of x plus 6. Okay, so I'm going to write it like that. And that goes over the common denominator, which is 2x plus 4. So I'm going to rewrite this as adding the opposite. So this is x squared plus -1 times x plus 6. And that's over 2x plus 4. So that -1 is going to distribute. So when I do that, I get x squared plus -x and then -6. And that's all over 2x plus 4. So that basically is x squared minus x minus 6 over 2x plus 4. Now I need to factor the numerator and denominator so I can see if I have any common factors to simplify. So when I factor x squared minus x minus 6, a is 1, so I'm just going to look at -6. And so since 6 is negative, I need a positive factor and a negative factor to multiply to -6. So b is that number in front of x. That's -1. So since that's negative, I'm going to make my bigger factor negative. So when I write out my factors, I have 1 and 6. So make the bigger factor negative. And I have 2 and 3. Make the bigger factor negative, right? 1 and -6 is going to be -5. 2 and -3 is -1. So that's the correct combination. So I have x plus 2 times x minus 3. And that's over. Now I have 2x plus 4. So if I look at 2x plus 4, if I'm going to factor it, notice that these two terms have a GCF. The GCF is 2, so I'm going to factor that out. So that means I'm going to divide 2x by 2, and I'm going to divide 4 by 2. So that leaves me with 2 times 2 and 2 cancel, so I have x plus 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So this is 2 times x plus 2. So notice that I have that common factor of x plus 2. So that's actually going to cancel from the numerator and denominator, which is going to leave me with x minus 3 over 2. And that is my final answer. So now let's try adding these two expressions together. So at first glance, you may think that they don't have a common denominator. But if we actually look at that x squared minus x, notice that the x times x minus 1 is just the same denominator written in factored form, right? Because these two terms have a GCF of x. So if I factor out the x, I have x squared over x minus x over x. And so that gives me x times x squared over x is just x, minus x over x is 1. So I have 2x minus 4 over x times x minus 1 plus 3x plus 2 over x times x minus 1. So now we're going to go ahead and add the numerators together since we have like denominators. So we have 2x minus 4 plus 3x plus 2 over x times x minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it so I have the like terms together. So I have 2x plus 3x minus 4 plus 2 over x times x minus 1. So 2x plus 3x is going to be 5x. And then minus 4 plus 2 is going to be minus 2. And that's over x times x minus 1. Okay, and that is our final answer. Notice that the numerator cannot be factored, so we're just going to leave that as 5x minus 2. So now let's go to the next problem. We have 2x squared minus x minus 9 over x squared plus 3x plus 2 minus x squared plus 2x minus 5 over x squared plus 3x plus 2. So once again, we have like denominators, so we can go ahead and combine the numerators. We have 2x squared minus x minus 9 minus x squared plus 2x minus 5. And that's all going to be over that like denominator, which is x squared plus 3x plus 2. So I'm going to rewrite this subtraction as adding the opposite. So we have plus -1 times x squared plus 2x minus 5 over x squared plus 3x plus 2. So I'm going to distribute that negative 1. And so that is going to give us 2x squared minus x minus 9. And then minus x squared minus 2x and then plus 5, right? I just change all of the signs on this second polynomial. So that is all going to be over x squared plus 3x plus 2. And so now let's go ahead and rewrite this by putting the like terms together. Okay, so I have a 2x squared and a minus x squared, so I'm going to put them together, 2x squared minus x squared. And then I have a minus x and a minus 2x that I'm going to put together. And then I have a minus 9 right here, and I have a plus 5. So I'm going to put all these terms over that common denominator, x squared plus 3x plus 2. So now we're just going to combine these. 2x squared minus x squared is just going to give me 1x squared. And then minus x minus 2x is minus 3x. And then I have minus 9 plus 5, which is minus 4. And that's all over x squared plus 3x plus 2. So now what we need to do is we need to factor the numerator and denominator to see if there's any common factors that we can cancel. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the next page. So I have x squared minus 3x minus 4. Since a is 1, I'm just going to look at negative 4. Since 4 is negative, I need a positive factor and a negative factor. Since b is negative 3, I'm going to make my bigger factor negative. So I just write out the factors. I have 1 and 4, and I have 2 and 2. 1 and negative 4 is negative 3, so that's the correct combination. So we have x plus 1 times x minus 4. So now let's factor the denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and write those factors I just found. And we will factor x squared plus 3x plus 2. So when we factor x squared plus 3x plus 2, we have 2, and we need two factors of 2. Well, 2 is positive, and 3 is positive, so both of my factors are going to be positive. The only factors of 2 are 1 and 2, and they do add up to 3, so the factors are going to be x plus 1 and x plus 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that in the denominator. And so when we do that, you can notice that we have a common factor of x plus 1, which will cancel. So our final answer is going to be x minus 4 over x plus 2. Okay, I'll just write it again over here. We have x minus 4 over x plus 2 as the final simplified version of our answer. So now you can go ahead and pause the video and try this example on your own. So when you do this problem, notice once again we have a like denominator, so we can go ahead and combine the terms. So we have x squared plus 2x plus x minus x squared. So x squared and minus x squared will combine, and they actually end up canceling each other out. And then we have 2x plus x, which gives us 3x. So this gives us 3x over x squared minus 4. X squared minus 4 will factor because it is x squared minus 2 squared. So the difference of two squares will factor as x plus 2 times x minus 2. So there are no common factors that will cancel, so we're just going to leave it as 3x over x plus 2 times x minus 2. So when you add and subtract rational expressions with like denominators, when you're adding, you're going to combine the like terms in both numerators. When you're subtracting, you're going to multiply all terms in the second numerator by negative 1 and then combine the like terms in both numerators. The denominator is going to remain the same. Then factor the numerator and denominator and cancel any common factors to simplify.